Hey, Ben from Skillard. I just wanted to talk to you real quick about our 4.5 gauge mounting brackets. We're calling this our version 3. There's been a few changes, so I wanted to show you what that looks like. All right, so here's our new version 3 bracket. And part of the reason we changed this was a change to the SpeedHut gauges. Just as a reference, this is our version 2. And in case you're wondering, the version 1 just had a much smaller hole, but SpeedHut had made a change to some of the clocking and the sizing, so we ended up modifying the version 1 to this, what you see here, which is the version 2. And then we're still offering the version 2 in case you have this type of gauge. But now we're going to be offering the version 3. You can see the version 3 here as it's installed. This is a 240 OEM bezel. And you can kind of see they've clocked these at 12 o'clock, so the top. So you want to make sure that if you're getting the brackets that it's clocked accordingly, and so you have the cutout at 12 o'clock. Another change besides the obvious is the new gauges are about a 1/4 inch deeper than what they were providing. And so we made these tabs 1/4 inch longer roughly on the version 3, and then shorten this back tab by about a 1/4 of an inch, so that way everything still mounts up the way it's supposed to. So now that we kind of lined out those differences, we'll just kind of go over a few other little bits and go from there. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about is this is obviously the new one, the version 3. And this is mounted into the OEM 240 plastic, and this one here is the 280. And so you can kind of see, like if you look at this edge and this edge, the 280's got about an extra 1/2 inch of plastic on it. So when you're actually sliding these in here, you have a little more range, and you can get more into the center of these tabs. And so on this one, where we put it into the 240, it's a little hard to see, but we're at the, once we squeeze this down, it's at these screws are in the very tip of these tabs. And as far as mounting this, like how the bracket actually mounts to the gauge and in here, we have another video on the page that you can take a look at. So I'm not going to go over all that again. I just wanted to point that out. If you were, however, this is the version 3, on a version 2, if you have a version 2 gauge like this, it's about a 1/4 inch shallower, like I said, but this beauty ring on the front is quite a bit deeper. So what you find is if you were going to use the version 2, these little tabs don't quite get down into the meat of the plastic to attach it. And so there's a note on the web page, but I just want to show you here where it says removing the beauty ring. So you can take this beauty ring off, and then the glass is tabbed, and so this just has paper on it, but the glass is tabbed, so it'll hold it right where it needs to go. And then when you put this into the 240 housing, it actually will seat all the way down, and it actually pulls the gauge even closer than if you left the beauty ring on there. So if you were going to mount a version 2 into a 240 housing, that's what we mean in the note by pulling the beauty ring off. So next, I just kind of want to show you from the back side in some of these dashes. We got a 240 dash and a 280 dash. Just kind of show you how the different gauges mount in there. So here's the 240Z, the back of the dash. We've slid the OEM plastic with the gauge. You saw that already all kind of screwed together. We slid that through, and comes right in here. Again, the version 3, SpeedHut's gauges are deeper. So one of the things that we noticed is that the gauge itself actually gets really close to this lower tab, especially, we're looking at the back side, but especially from on the driver's side, not as much on the passenger. That's why I put the gauge in this side so you could see it. Depending on the depth of how you're going to install this, you might find that you need to flex this tab back a little bit. But once you're ready to install this, For the 240, we have these two little angle brackets right here that'll come with the kit, and they come with some extra hardware. And so basically what we do with that is you attach this to the tab, and then you have the slot here that lines up in this slot on that back tab. You'll put another screw and nut through there, and when you get it all in position, you'll be able to tighten that down. The opposite one will go on the opposite side for the other gauge. So, and then if that is all still the same, even if you were to use the version 2 bracket, just a little more clearance because the version 2 gauges that SpeedHut had are a little bit shallower. So just kind of wanted to go over that, and then we'll also just pop and take a quick look at the 280Z just another time. So kind of already showed this install on our first gauge pod video that we did with the version 1 for the 280Z. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw in the version 3 setup here and just kind of show you that, these, I'm going to push it out a little bit. On the 280, it's pretty slick because they have these built-in tabs in the frame. And so, once you get it in, you can basically just line it up. And, you have the slotted holes so you can push it in, push it in and out a little bit. Anyway, that's pretty neat. That's one of the reasons why for the brackets, how this slotted hole here is in there is to use on the 240, and then this extra tab here on the back that you see, that's for mounting on the 280. So just kind of wanted to point that out as some of the differences. And so you can get the version 2 brackets as long as those are still the version 2 gauges are still being made by SpeedHut, and as long as we still have stock. But then obviously these version 3 is what we're going to moving forward, and those are available from Skillard.com. If you have any questions, please email sales@skillard.com.